They still have to add them, they still have to subtract them. Now, there might be a part or a step that you're going to have to add or subtract, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if you see a fraction, mixed number, whole number in the same word problem, you are doing division. Does that make sense? All right, let's go ahead and go through our notes. So, looking at the first one, we do not. Oh, and you're going to need a highlighter today. I'm sorry. Go ahead and grab that. I apologize. My bad. So we do not. All right, we do not get common denominators. This is very important for you guys to realize that when you are dividing fractions, the denominators do not have to be the same. Is there going to be an issue with the two of you sitting together? Because you've not stopped talking since I've started.
I asked you what you use.
Again, is it going to be a problem? Because if I look up again and I see you both talking, it's silent lunch and I'm moving both of you. Do you understand? Do you understand? The process that we do is keep, change, flip, and then we multiply. Now, this is a skill that I don't do. Some of you guys may know how to do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying I don't do it. You can cross product, or what else does that mean? What does cross product mean? What does product mean? Like, what operation are you doing when you hear the word product?
The answer to multiplication.
Right, so you can do cross multiplication if you want to simplify before we get to the end. I don't do that. I don't mess with anything extra. I just try to keep it as simple as possible. You then multiply the numerator by the numerator and multiply the denominator by the denominator. And the reason I'm using the multiplication symbol is because that line is way too little to write the word multiplication. And then you always want to simplify if possible. All right, with your highlighter, we're going to highlight, keep, change, flip, then multiply, and then we're going to highlight, simplify. Simplifying is a huge thing that we have to do 9 times out of 10. Not always, but most of the time. All right, this one we are not going to do together, but I want you to write, because these are notes, I want you to write underneath your problem KCF where it goes. All right, you must show all of the steps. Don't skip a step, don't jump to something. Show all of your steps, stand up when you have your answer for this one. So again, you're solving, keep, change, flip, and then standing up. If you're not sure, that is okay. You can wait until we go over it together. Yeah, stand up when you're done. All right, go ahead, have a seat. All right. So this is keep, change, flip here. Do we have to change any of our numbers to improper fractions? Nope, we're good. They're just straight fractions. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep the first fraction. What do I do with my operation? Silas? Change it to multiplication. And then what do I do with my second fraction? Kira? Flip it. So it's going to become 12 ninths. All right, then you multiply straight across. 3 times 12 is 36, and 8 times 9 is 72. Now, there are a couple different numbers you can use to simplify 36 70 seconds. All right? What is one that you guys used? What's one? Christian.
I divided it by 36.
Okay, did anybody else divide it by something other than 36? What did you divide by? 12. All right, what else? Anybody divide it by 4? Anybody divide it by 9? Okay, but are all those options? Yes, they are all options. You might have to divide it a couple different times if you don't use 36, but you don't always have to have the biggest number. Sometimes you can just divide by 2 until you can't divide by 2 anymore, right? So if you're ever unsure of like the biggest number, just start dividing by 2. And divide by 2 and divide by 2 until you cannot divide by 2 anymore. All right, if you divide this by 36, 36 divided by 36, raise your hand. Samantha? 1. And 72 divided by 36? Silas?
2.
What?
2.
2, yes. All right, so your answer for this first one is half. Okay, how'd we do with that? How many of you guys got to the 3670 half, 70 seconds? I don't even know what that is. And then you were like, I think I need to simplify, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay, and that's fine. That's why we are going through this together. So if you get to a point on our work today that you're not exactly sure, some of it we're going to go over, and then some of it you're just going to need to ask. Remember, simplifying, we want to try and the rule of thumb is divide by 2 until you cannot divide by 2 anymore. Okay? All right, so look down here. Before we go through our notes, what do you notice about our numbers? Before we go through our notes, what do you notice about our numbers? Blake? They what? So what kind of fractions technically is 4 2/3 and 2 4/9? It's a special name. Starts with an M. Okay. Joshua. Say mixed number. All right, so knowing that they're mixed numbers, understand that this one's going to have an extra step in it. All right, again, do not get common denominators. So highlight that part. And then also highlight the part that says change to improper fractions. That's the extra step that we have to do here. Then, what's the 3 things we do when we divide fractions? What are the 3 things we do when we divide fractions? So keep, change, flip, and then we're going to multiply. You can cross product. Ooh, I totally spelled that word wrong. Whoops. If possible, follow the steps for multiplication, and then last, simplify if possible. Make sure you get that stuff highlighted. All right, do not do anything yet. All right, when we change a mixed number to an improper fraction, we're going to do it over here so we don't make this too clustered over here. So what do we have to do with our denominator and our whole number? What operation with our denominator and our whole number? Gracie. All right, so you are going to do 3 times 4 or 4 times 3. It doesn't matter. It's multiplication. All right, when you do 3 times 4, raise your hand. What do you get? 3 times 4. What do we get? Gabriel. What? Huh? 12, yes. All right, and then what do you do with this number and your numerator? What do you do with that number and your numerator? Answer? Mm-hmm. All right, so you get 14 thirds. So over here, we're gonna write a few little steps just to help us remember. All right, so you multiply your numerator and whole number. Then you add, sorry, that is totally the wrong word. Erase that, that's why you use a, what's it called?
Pencil.
Yes,
Oh, okay. What is that?
it's whiteout. All right, so you multiply your denominator. And the fact that y'all just let me write numerator and just kept it moving, woo, y'all gotta correct me. All right, sorry. You multiply your denominator and the whole number, and then you add that number to the numerator. And then you always rewrite it with your original denominator. All right, so you technically now have these steps in two different places on two different sets of notes. So give me, go ahead and stand up when you have the little notes written down. Get some movement in our body this morning. All right, go ahead and have a seat. So over here, you guys are gonna do, you're gonna find the mixed number for this. So what do we multiply together when we're looking at 2 and 4/9? What two numbers are we multiplying together? Alex.
You're just going to multiply the 4 to 3.
No, baby. We're we can't do anything yet because we're still trying to do this. What do I multiply together with my mixed number? Drake.
2 times 4.
No, y'all. We literally just wrote the notes. Multiply your denominator with the whole number. So I'm going to ask again. What two numbers do we multiply together when we are looking at 2 and 4 ninths? Drake.
4.
Yes. Lord have mercy, children. All right. 2 times 9 equals what? 18. Then, what am I adding to that number? What am I adding to that number? Blake. 4. 18 plus 4 gives me 22. Right?
Yes.
Alex, silent lunch. Go sit outside with all of your stuff. This is the second day in a row, son. You are still required to get every note that I write, so hurry it up. So we have 22 ninths. Now, are we finally ready to start our process of dividing fractions?
Yes.
All right, so you are doing keep, change, flip. Stand up when you're done. The fact that y'all are finished is very aggravating, which means you're going ahead and you're not listening. Stand up, you're done. Why would you sit back down? Did you do the work over there on the side? So don't shove it all over here. Write it over here so it's not all shoved in one space. Let me see your work. So it's not even working. So that's why you need to listen rather than go ahead. Let me see your work. You didn't simplify, so you're not going to. If you get to a point where you are not sure how to change your improper fraction to the next number, you can stop. If you get to a point where you're not sure what to simplify by, you can stop. All right, have a seat. You have 14 thirds times 9 22nds. When you multiply straight across, I always do the easy one first. I always feel like there's an easy one between the two. So I'm going to do the 3 times 22, and that is going to give me 66. Then the 14 times 9, that's going to be a little bit harder. So if you cannot do that in your head, you need to pull that out to the side and do your math that way. Okay? That is perfectly okay to do that. So this is the number, the improper fraction that you should end up with when you do your division. Thumbs up if that's what you got. 126/66. All right, obviously we're not going to leave it like that. So I'm going to come down here on the bottom of my paper where I have a little bit more room. And I'm going to do 126 divided by 66. I cannot multiply 66 by anything to get 1. Can I multiply anything by 66 to get 12? Now be careful with this one because it looks like you can, but you actually cannot. You can only multiply 66 by what? By 1. And that's going to give you 60, which then you're like, well, that's an obnoxiously large number, right? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So what can you divide 60 and 66 by? What number? Think about it for a second. What number can you divide both 60 and 66 by? BK?
6.
Yep. So you divide this by 6 and you end up with 1 and 10 elevenths. So that is your answer. All right, on the next right side, you guys have number 1 and you have number 2. Hold on, let me make sure everybody, give me a thumbs up once you have all of this information down here written down. Alex, do you have all of this written down? Put the water bottle away and do the work. All right. You and your group members are completing number 1 and number 2 together. Make sure you do everything. Don't skip this part. Don't skip. Make sure. Again, these are notes, so you need to have KCF. KCF. All right. When you are finished, go ahead and stand up. I'm going to set the timer. If you don't finish before then, that is not a big deal.
Oh, we just have to find 68 divided by.
So how are you everybody has to show you.
You just want to show our division. So just do 28 divided by 8 and then just show 3 and 4.
So like you're not sure you're
1 each to the other. And then we simplify.
Nipper, Rodriguez, I don't know, let's go. You have to show that. If you are standing, your mouth is shut. Y'all, I'm done. I was going to let you outside today. We are absolutely not going outside. This is absolutely ridiculous. How do you go from an improper fraction to the next number? You did an entire assignment on it. What do? Yeah, so you need to show your division somewhere else. You need 20 divided by 8. You looking at her paper doesn't help, does it? You're working together. Guys, group work is not like, oh, let me finish it and then just give my paper to my partner. Is it? What is so funny? Oh, y'all are cracking up, laughing, having a good time. What is so funny? Because there's nothing that I see funny right now. That means don't answer. You don't have to say anything. Go outside. I'm gonna line y'all up today outside. Take everything with you, leave it all. You ain't coming back. Let's go ahead and go over this. So when you were doing 7/8 divided by 1/4, what do we do next? Someone tell me what my new problem's gonna look like. Samantha.
The new problem is 7/8 times 4/1.
Okay, then we multiply straight across. We end up with 28/8. You cannot go from 28/8 and write equals 3.5. You can't. The reason you cannot is because you have to show your work. So, you have to do an extra step, whether you do it over here, over there, I don't really care. 28 divided by 8. How many times does 8 go into 28? Zachary?
3 times and then equals 24.
So you end up with 3 and 4/8. I think everybody got that as their original answer. Now what do we have to do with this 4/8? What do we have to do with the 4/8, Silas? So what do we have to do with this 4/8? I need math words at this point. If this is a review for everybody, y'all should be able to tell me. Gracie?
Simplify.
Yes. What am I going to simplify by?
2.
No.
4.
4. I mean, you can simplify by 2, but you're going to have to do it again, right? So you end up with 3.5 as your answer. All right, how many of us got that for the first one? All right, this one, we have to do a step before we do anything else. Please tell me how I changed my mixed number to an improper fraction. All right, Angel.
6 times 5.
So I'm going to do 6 times 5, which gives me
30.
30.
And then you add it with the 4. You put it in the 4.
Okay. So now have 34 fifths. If you did not get this far, please make sure you're copying this down now. So 34 fifths divided by half. All right, am I ready to do my division? Yes or no? I'm ready to start that process of keep, change, flip, right? All right. I'm gonna keep this first one. What do I do with my operation? What do we do with the operation here? Isaac, what am I gonna do with that operation? What do I do with the operation?
Change the division symbol to the multiplication symbol.
Okay.
And the 1/2 to 2/1.
All right, perfect. And then again, you're multiplying straight across. So you end up with what, 68 fifths. All right, thumbs up when you have that written down or you have that already. If you don't have it written down, what should you be doing? If you need to correct anything, please make sure it is correct. All right, can we leave it as 68 fifths? No. So we are going to divide 68 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go into 6? Silas? 1 time. How many times does 5 go into 18 without going over? Zachary? 3 times. So my answer is going to be 13 and 3 fifths. Okay, thumbs up if you got that right, or thumbs up if you were on the right track. Please make sure if you didn't finish it that you copy this down now. All right, go ahead, get this glued into your notebook on your math or dividing fractions notes page. Do not talk. All right, when you are done with that, you need to slide over to the next blank, right side. Again, once you get this glued in, you should be copying this down on the next blank right page. Yeah. All right, grab the yellow sheet of paper that I just passed out to everybody. So this is very similar to what we did yesterday at the bottom of our notes page. So if you need to refer back to that while you're working on this today, that is fine. what you need to remember is what is being split up, what's the value of the number of the groups, and the value of the size, and then does my answer make sense? Yesterday, when we talked about that pizza question at the end, in a couple different classes, and I don't remember if it was in this class or not, but some of us were saying that we had 23 1/3 pizzas. And yes, that was the answer that we got when we did our solution, but did that answer make sense to our question? No, because it was asking for how many full pizzas that we're going to finish, not how many pizzas altogether. So the answer was 23. Some of us wrote 3 as an answer yesterday, and I was like, and I think they were just forgetting to bring over their other number. Again, being careful, because okay, if you said your answer was 3, but then you're like, well, there was 14 cups in one, and so just take a minute to really think, does my answer make sense? That's the biggest thing you guys have to do this year as 6th graders and 7th graders and 8th graders and moving forward. Because you're going to do a lot of work, and you're going to get an answer, and you're going to be like, this doesn't make sense, but I did all this work, so I'm just going to go with this answer, even though it's probably not right. You have to fill out each one of these boxes. What this is doing is making you annotate. You don't have to annotate with a marker. You can just use your pencil because this is a yellow paper, so it might be a little bit harder if you're using a highlighter. But you're annotating, so you're writing down what you know, you're writing down the question, you're doing your work right here, and you're writing your answer right here. Let's go ahead, and we're going to do the first 2 boxes together on this one. We're not going to do the whole thing, just so you guys have an example on here. So it says a 15-pound bag of sugar is being split into containers that hold 7/8 of a pound. How many containers of sugar will the 15-pound bag fill? So what is important in the first part of that first sentence? Silas.
15-pound bag.
All right, so 15-pound bag. All right, what else is important? What else is important? Samantha.
Being split.
So being split, that's telling us we're dividing. All right, and then what's the last thing that's important in that sentence? Reagan, what's the last thing that's important in that first sentence? No, in the first sentence, baby. We're not done with the first sentence. All right, so hold 7/8 of a pound. And then obviously our whole question. So in this first box of what we know that we have a 15-pound bag, and we know that the container holds 7/8 of a pound. All right, what do we need to know? We need to know how many containers of sugar will the 15-pound bag fill? All right, stand up when you have this information written down. You're not solving, you're just writing this information down. All right, so in all of these questions on the front side of your page, this is always the important info. Sorry. The I know is always going to be the important information. It's what you like annotate in your word problem. The what I need to know is always going to be the question. Okay? So this was our important information. And this was our question. Does that make sense? Now, you are getting one chance and one chance only. Listen to the directions. I'll wait for everybody to finish writing so I know y'all are listening. Put your pencils down when you're done. All right. Pencils are down, even if you're not finished. I don't really know what else we're writing because it wasn't that much. You are going to be working with a partner. If for whatever crazy reason you're like, I just don't think I can do it today, I don't mind if you work by yourself. But you are going to have the option to work with somebody. You are completing the next 4 problems on the front, and there are 8 problems on the back. Flip your paper over real quick. Please complain, because I will make this due tomorrow as well. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 word problems on the back. What does that mean you're doing with those 5 word problems? No. The same thing we're doing on the entire front. What are we doing on the entire front? Everly.
Annotating.
Yes, y'all have got to start annotating. Okay? So again, you can work with a partner if you want. Front and back, that is what you're working on. You may move around the room if you would like. Do not move. What I say, you had one chance, right? If you do not want to work with a partner, but you want to move around the room, that is fine. You don't have a problem with that. You don't have to stay in your seat if you don't want to. You don't have to work with anybody if you don't want to. If you're working by yourself and you get stuck, please don't sit there. Please come and ask for help. Does that make sense? If you and your partner are working and you get stuck, don't just sit there and talk and think about all the things you're going to do tomorrow because you're not going to be in school. Come and ask for help. If I see too many off-task people, I'm going to make this a grade. For correct, right, or wrong, and it'll be a quiz grade. Do not make me do that, please. Get the work done. Show me when you're finished. Go ahead.